My name is Larry Roberts. I'm the treasurer for the coalition, so thank you all for coming tonight. We'll do introductions in just a minute, but we'll go ahead and get started with our agenda items. So let's see, welcome. Oh, we're in introduction to it. So we'll start this way, go around the room. Just tell me your name, who you're representing, or where you're from, and then we'll get started.
Sure. I'm Jalise. I'm the Assistant Director for the Cheatham County Coalition.
Amy Harris, I interviewed today for the coalition assistant and I wasn't found.
Things like thrown into the pool.
Well,
I'm Ken Turner, and I come as a, I guess, citizen, I'm her citizen. I work for the Department of Corrections.
Great, welcome.
Out of Robertson, out of Dixie.
I'm Anita Eichler. I'm with Tennessee Voices. And this is the first one in forever that I've not been doing something else program-wise. So I'm glad I could be here tonight.
I'm Melissa McGirt. I'm the program manager for the coalition.
Tracy Neck, I work with Ashland City Fire Department. I'm their community risk reduction. It's a new title. I don't know that's right. Community risk reduction coordinator. Do all the public education, pretty much.
I'm Kennedy Day. I'm the Drug Endangered Children Program Coordinator for the coalition.
Okay, I'm Casey Reynolds. I'm the Regional Overdose Prevention Specialist with the coalition.
Yes, thank you. That's it. Okay. So we need to approve the minutes from the last meeting. So for those of us that are members, can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting? Motion. Julie, is there a second?
I second.
Second, okay. Any discussion on the minutes? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, none. Thank you. Financials, we don't have.
Sweet, my sweet girl.
We don't have updated financials, so we're going to skip that. So we'll go right into our program. So Kennedy and Joyce are going to talk to us this evening. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone doing okay, doing great. All right, so in this month of April is Drug Endangered Children Awareness Day on April 24th. So amongst having that day and recognizing it, we really just want to bring more awareness and education to those who may not know exactly what a drug endangered child is, or what things they might endure, or what that looks like. But just having that conversation, because it all starts with a conversation, right? So starting this presentation, we'll skip through that. Just want to,
I'm sorry. I had to share it with the Zoom. I
Oh,
don't think
go
they
for
can
it.
see it. Give me 1 second. You should be able to go right back into it.
no, you're fine, you're fine. Okay, so just disclaimer, some material and content in the course, it will be graphic or disturbing in nature. We encourage you to just take care of yourself. So if you need to step out, feel free to do so. Viewers online, virtual stream, just same thing. If you need to turn your camera off or just step away, please feel free to do that. We want you to take care of you while we go through this presentation. So the Drug Endangered Child Mission, it's the National Alliance for Drug Endangered Children. And that's to teach early identification, response, and appropriate intervention services for children and families affected by parental or caregiver substance misuse. We equip comprehensive multidisciplinary alliances, communities, organizations, and individuals with access to our National Resource Center trainings and technical assistance. So I have a quick video.
When someone is struggling with addiction, it affects everyone in their world, especially children. For kids, it feels like everything is crumbling around them. Forces they can't control and shape their lives. People they love, they get drifting away.
addiction is like a cancer. It doesn't just affect the person who's using, it affects everybody around them. They're the ones picking up the pieces when things fall apart.
We know that living with or near addiction can be overwhelming, no matter how old you are. We're here to help with resources, with training, with care and support.
There was no way out. I thought I was gonna die with a needle in my arm. And then I was set free. I'm on this journey with so many other friends that are in recovery. That's our support, you know? To know that you're not alone in this, and that you can do it. Like when I was in active addiction, you know, I was afraid of all those people and all the social workers, and just seeing everyone in the community come together to try to combat the epidemic, knowing that they really do care, is huge.
At the National Alliance for Drug and Endangered Children, our mission is to help families find a way forward. No matter how deep the substance misuse is taken hold, there are strong pathways to recovery and caring professionals available to help. In the drug war, the kids are oftentimes the collateral damage. They're the forgotten ones, the first impacted and the last ones. We want to change the trajectory of children and families' lives in communities across the United States. We want them to have an opportunity. We want them to be identified, and we want professionals to look at what's best for the child as a whole, the family as a whole, and ultimately impacting the community as a whole. For the children, for the caregivers, for the addicted, all those working to help them. We can help them find a way. Learn more.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. All right, so defining drug endangered children. The National Alliance for Drug Endangered Children defines drug endangered children as children, that's a lot of children, who are at risk of suffering physical or emotional harm as a result of legal, illegal drug use, possession, manufacturing, cultivation, or distribution. They may also be children whose caretakers' legal or illegal substance misuse interferes with caretakers' ability to parent and provide a safe and nurturing environment. So that's just their standard definition, how they define drug endangered children. And it kind of varies from each community. We could probably all agree as it looks different. But we're recognizing it as any child in that presence, affected, impacted, susceptible. So maybe that might look like a child who has, you know, poor mental health at the time, or maybe is going through something and maybe choosing that to cope. And it's in their presence, so that's a risk right there. But just keeping in mind how it's always a risk when there is a presence of substances and the presence of a child. And so our vision is 100% healthy, safe children and families, community free from the negative impact of substance misuse and drug activity. And so children at risk. Children whose parents abuse alcohol or drugs are 3 times more likely to be verbally, physically, or sexually abused, 4 times more likely than other children to be neglected. So with that being said, that's why this is something we want to bring to, you know, light, to shed awareness on that. It's already a problem for any child to go through that, but to know that when children whose parents or maybe their caregivers or family, whatever that looks like, their home environment, you know, relates to substance use or misuse, that's something that we definitely want to take in consideration. And children of parents with substance use disorders have a higher likelihood of developing substance use problems themselves. And then will you start that? Thank you.
Looks like rain again today. Dark clouds gather and fill the sky. Don't know how to talk to you, just know how to say
All right, and with that video, just showing that what children see, as it said, children do. So knowing that maybe those kinds of behaviors at home are happening, if there's no other protective factor that they may have, other family, you know, trusted adults, other friends, anything like that, then that just makes them susceptible to fall into that cycle. And that's where we want to bring awareness, because when we have resources or we have a chance to change that trajectory, that's what we want to do. We want to step in while we can, and stop that cycle. Okay. So addiction is defined as chronic relapsing disorder characterized by compulsive drug seeking, continued use despite harmful consequences, and long-lasting changes in the brain. It is considered both a complex brain disorder and a mental illness. And so that brings the conversation of nature versus nurture. So nature being the pre-wiring and is influenced by genetic inheritance and other biological factors, versus nurture being influenced external factors after conception. So the product of exposure, life experiences, and learning on an individual. So when it comes to substance, oh my gosh, when it comes to substance misuse or alcohol dependence, whatever that may look like, we have to remember that when it comes to that, there is a genetic predisposition that people may have. So knowing that that may be a factor, but also when it goes back to the conversation of children see, children do, knowing that there's that influence of external factors. So exposure, you know, they don't have a choice of what goes on in home. You know, they don't have a say in that. So knowing that what they see and the trauma that they might endure, they don't have any control over that, but that might influence them to maybe partake in that, not knowing that that's not normal or that's not healthy, and that's what they've seen, so they don't know. Or, you know, life experiences, having things happen that are traumatic, or just going through a lot and not knowing how to cope because they weren't shown how to cope or haven't had anyone teach them how. So all of that definitely has a determining factor. So simple as children plus drugs equal risk. So that can look different in so many perspectives, whether it's, okay, the risk of continuing this cycle, the risk of negative outcomes, the risk of, we just saw that there were 3 or 4 times more likely to have those other factors like abuse or trafficking. So just knowing that it's never a good thing, and it's something that we want to pay attention to, because in the video, he mentioned that they're the first impacted and the last helped. Unfortunately, a lot of times that's the case. You know, they're the first to see that change or to go through and endure the things that they have to in their home environment due to substance misuse, whether it's a family caregiver, or, you know, an adult, a friend, whatever that looks like. And so I believe this is where I pass the baton.
Okay, so when we're talking about risk, we're going to define risk. The risk is the chance of something going wrong, the danger that injury, damage, or loss will occur. So sometimes people hear drug endangered children and you automatically kind of think like this extreme, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But risk is really, it kind of varies. There are some children who might be growing up in a home where addiction is very present. But there's others who maybe don't have that home life, but they're on the bus or with a child who does, or they have a family member who their cousin, let's say, is involved in something, and they, you know, they talk. There's a lot of peer sharing. So we're just talking about children and drugs. There's a risk. Risk varies, but there's always a risk of drug exposure of some kind. Let's see if I get this right. Here we go. So all drug endangered children are at risk, but how much risk and risk for what varies. So that's really important to remember. So like I had mentioned, there's some like exposure to in friend's house and things like that, but we're going to go over some of the risks. One of those risks is prenatal risk. So even before when the child is born, they can be a drug endangered child due to poor prenatal care, poor nutrition, adverse postnatal environments, and that all, again, the risk varies, depends on what substances are being used, the frequency of use, duration of use, quantity of use. So there's risk, but again, there's that varying level of risk. some more severe than others. And then postnatal risk, which is kind of like what I think people think of automatically when they think drug endangered children. So we're talking about environmental chaos. So a lot of not stability, a lot of moving around, a lot of unsure of what the day is gonna bring. Lack of supervision, kind of just doing whatever they want to do, and taking on that responsibility of really being the adult in the home. Having to find food, take care of their siblings, things like that. Lack of necessities, not having resources and food in the home. I know stories of kids who they would have their parents take food out of the home and they'd be left with empty cabinets coming home from school. So things like that to consider. Violence, domestic violence, loss. Loss not just in maybe someone passing, but loss due to incarceration, loss due to being displaced out of the home, ingestion and exposure, and human trafficking. So we're gonna look at the three kind of categories of drug endangered children. So we're gonna talk about use and possession, distribution, manufacturing, cultivation, to kind of get an idea of what these kids are going through or what they're exposed to, sometimes on a daily basis. So talking about use and possession, I have here an example. I know some of you guys are kind of far away, but if you can, look at this picture and show me some, and I would love for a volunteer, I don't want to call in anybody, so, but someone to kind of mention something that is out of place, that does not look like a safe environment for a child.
The board over the playpen, or whatever
Absolutely.
you wanna call that.
Yep, there is, it's like a wood door
Mm.
that's placed on top of the pack and play with a bunch of crates on top to keep that child in the pack and play, to keep them contained. Anything else? You see, I know it's kind of hard, so in this picture right here, there's a little boy on the bed, and you can't really see it, but there is a dog collar. When officers came to this home in Salt Lake City, Utah, first they found adults in the dining room, rocking up crack cocaine while these two were in two separate bedrooms in the back of the house. Both of the doors closed, and in this room with this little boy, there was a massive pit bull kind of just standing, staring at the little boy, and the little boy was terrified, would not get out of bed. They were obviously not dressed properly. And then as you look closer, there's, containers of food on the floor, furniture knocked over. And this is exactly how the officers found them. This has not been changed at all. So we're talking about a severe environment for these children to grow up in. And this is just what you're seeing in pictures. Think about the daily life of these children. So when it comes to distribution, children are victims. They are victims of the illicit drug trade in many ways. Some of those being home invasions, robberies. They're in their home. That's where they live. That's where they spend their time. And it's supposed to be their safe haven, their safe place. And these are some of the ways that they are victims. Abduction, ransom, drugs transported in children's items. Have any of you guys ever walked through our behind closed doors or hidden in plain sight? Yeah, so in one of the things I'm gonna give you, if you haven't, this is a inside information. But there's a little teddy bear and it has its little seam in its arm cut open, and there's like a little baggie of pretend drugs inside of there. So that's a childhood item. I mean, I'm sure we've all had some kind of special stuffy that we've carried around and slept with. Items like that being used to hide drugs and transport them because it's innocent. Children brought to drug buys. I've heard of parents who are like, well, my kid is safe because they're in the car with me and they're here. They're not home by themselves, unattended, unsupervised, but you're bringing them to a drug trade, a drug buy. Not a safe environment. We see things in the news all the time about stuff that's going on, and there's kids involved right in the middle of that. Children used as decoys. So these are children at risk in the category of distribution for substances. And then manufacturing and cultivation. These are different pictures of homes and things that were collected by law enforcement in homes where children were present, where they were cultivating substances. You see here some marijuana plants, you see things related to a meth lab, and this is children being exposed to this every single day. I've heard stories of a 2-year-old child who was crawling on the floor and they ended up getting substances in their eyes and the emergency room didn't know what was going on. And they had no idea why this child kept going into overdose. Because what had happened was that kid was crawling on the floor where they were manufacturing illegal substances. And that child had it on their hands and the EMS didn't know what to do. So again, we're talking about children being exposed in their home, in their safe place, where they're just trying to walk around. Something that we as a coalition are doing is going out to all of our CBD and vape shops and really encouraging retailers to keep items out of the hands of youth, and to educate your clients and the parents and the families that go in there. Lock up your edibles, lock up your vapes, keep it out of their hands, because we don't want to expose them. You know, they're children. They need to be safe. We can't have toddlers crawling around and seeing a Rice Krispie treat on the table and it's actually a CBD marijuana, CBD edible. So they can't tell the difference between packaging and wrapping and all of that. So just things to kind of share and I think give insight into what we're talking about when we talk about drug endangered children. So earlier Kennedy had said the DEC vision and mission is 100% drug-free communities, families, children. And a lot of times people are like, well, 100% is unrealistic. There's no way that you could get to 100%. That's too far out of reach. We can only reach 1 or 2 and, you know, 20%, 30%. But what about the rest of those kids? Which kids are not going to be in that 100%? Which kids are going to be in that 80% and in the 20%? So it kind of, I feel very strongly about that because it's like, again, we cannot leave children behind. And I know the theme for DEC Day here in Cheatham County that we started is take it out of their hands. Take it out of the 20% of children who are not, who are in a drug endangered environment or whatever that percentage is. So I personally do believe that we can get to 100%, but I know that we cannot do it by ourselves. I know the coalition cannot do it, just our staff. We need community members, and that's why we really push, hey, please be a part of it, share the word, spread our mission and our vision, because it should be all of our mission and vision. So how do we get to 100%? We need to understand the long-term needs of drug endangered children. So talking about that mental health aspect of it. And we need to implement appropriate and effective intervention strategies. And again, that comes not just in the coalition's mission, that's in all of our community partners and agencies. And that's why we really rely on you guys to be a part of what we're doing, because your mission and vision is the same as ours, ultimately. So what are some of those long-term effects that I was talking about? Children growing up in drug endangered environments may experience emotional problems like anxiety, PTSD, complex emotions, and not know how to process those and hopefully cope with them. Behavioral problems such as sexually acting out what they've seen, like that video I thought was so powerful. Children see, children do. And that first part of it was really a lot of that negative behavior, teaching anger and the littering and the treating others cruelly. But I really appreciate that last part where they see us acting positive, they're gonna treat other people positively. They're gonna treat others with kindness and patience. And that's how we get to 100%. And Handle with Care is a really great, I know some of you might know what that is. It's implemented in the school district through a partnership with law enforcement and the counselors, and extending grace. When the children who have unstable home environments see their teachers and the school staff extending grace to them, they're gonna feel safe and they're gonna have that safe place, even if it's not at home. And then cognitive behavior. So inability to pick up on social cues, difficulty paying attention, maybe delayed issues such as like reading and things like that. Because sometimes they might miss school. Sometimes they're missing weeks on end of school and they're gonna miss that critical phonics and all of that, everything that they would need to continue with their education. So we all have an intervention and prevention role to play. So intervention and prevention, two different things, both super important. A lot of times people see the coalition as a substance use prevention but a lot of the work we do currently is intervention because we weren't able to get ahead of the problem or the issue at hand. But I do believe that we can do that with community partners and collaboration. That's what I'm gonna talk about really quick next. So this is a picture of a road. My husband is originally from Southern California, and all the roads look like this, nothing in sight and nobody around. So if you have to go to the restroom, you better have gone hours ahead of time. But looking at this road, it's a really good example of what collaboration looks like. And you might think, how? Because there's nobody there. Well, first of all, there's nobody there now, but there were people there before because the road's been paved. So there's people who have paved the road already in this work. So we need to follow the steps of those people and build off of what they have done. We're looking at this might be maybe they're planning on building some apartments or some store or whatever, and have people in the area. That's kind of where we come in, is we're going to continue to build off of intervention programs, educational programs, prevention programs. But we cannot do it alone because it took a whole team of people to build this road, not just one construction worker with the truck, So collaboration is exchange of information, altering of activities, sharing of resources, and enhancement of the capacity of another for the mutual benefit of all and to achieve a common purpose. This work is a community work, but you have to do it for the community. It has to be for the mutual benefit of everybody. It's not just about us. It's not just about one person. It's for everyone's benefit, because believe me, when you serve your community and you collaborate with your partners, you're going to feel really good about yourself. And that's not what it's about, but it really does light a fire under you to be like, I want to do this more. I want to help more people. I want to be more involved. So collaboration is challenging. We know this. I'm sure all of us at some point have tried to work on a project with somebody or kind of get people on board, and it's like, why don't they want to be involved? This is so important. Why is no one helping? That's what we may not know. That's something we need to figure out. But some of the reasons why could be competing goals, relationship issues, maybe not getting along with the workflow of someone else, control issues, maybe wanting it to be done your way and that's all, that's it. There's that mutual benefit, really, that your way doesn't help everybody else. Different values, helplessness, maybe feeling like I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. I don't even know what you are asking of me. And unchanneled passion and energy, maybe not knowing where you want that energy to go. So these are some of our community partners and some of the community partners that are very important in our work with drug and endangered children. And you can see they're each in their own little silo. All alone, super important. We can't be anywhere without law enforcement, child protective services, education, medical field, all of that. We'd be lost without them. However, when we all work together and we have that collaboration, that's where we're going to get to that 100% of drug-free communities, children, and families. Because like I said, each one alone, super important. All of us together, imagine all the gaps that the education field can fill in those children's lives that maybe we couldn't, as I'm not a teacher and things like that. Same with law enforcement, judicial, all of that. So a collaborative strategy requires a deep awareness of what each system has to offer and is willing to share. And I think this is a really great quote. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. And that's so true. Everything that we see and experience and all of these opportunities that we have, it wasn't started with just only one person created everything. You know what I mean? It's been groups of people that have made the difference in the community. And a good example of that is Candace Leitner. She founded MAD. I know some of you that were here last time, we had Ann Warren speak, and she's from MAD. This is kind of a timeline, but Candace Leitner alone, her daughter passed away due to a drunk driver. And she took it upon herself to gather people and to gather community to make a difference. And that's what started Mothers Against Drunk Driving. And now they are national, they speak, they educate. and they're doing amazing work. So we need to believe in the future and create the reality. So know that the vision and the mission of 100% drug-free is possible, and start doing the work. Again, there it is. So if we leave here today and do nothing different, nothing will change. Sometimes it kind of feels like we just keep saying the same thing over and over again. Oh, drug endangered children, awareness day, let's pass out a flyer, let's do this. But we cannot do it by ourselves. We need to you have access to agencies and people that others do not. There's that collaboration. We need to get out of our silos and all work together, because we can make a difference to change the trajectory of drug endangered children's lives. Watch this video.
Children are our future, and if there's one child in trouble from a parent or caregiver's drug use, that's one child too many. It's not too late to change this, to reverse the cycle.
I love that. I love how he says, one is too many, and it's not too late. Sometimes it's like, oh, the problem has gotten way ahead of us. There's no way we could tackle it. We can tackle it together. Oh, there you go. So that is the end of the education of the training portion. I'm gonna hand it back to Kennedy, because she's gonna go over some things, because I know we talked about collaborating, and I'm like, you can do it, and we can partner, and we can do all this work. Well, what am I talking about? What's the work? How are we partnering? So I'm gonna let Kennedy go ahead and get that portion. Thank you.
All right, so we have drug endangered children awareness, helping us take it out of their hands, like Jaleese mentioned, is our theme. DEC Day, National DEC Day, April 24th. Drug endangered children is a program funded through the TBI's Dangerous Drugs Task Force, and focuses on the education of what drug endangered children look like, how we as community members can intervene in the prevention of children being drug endangered. National Drug Endangered Children Day is a day where we recognize that this population is not always considered when it comes to the conversation of substance misuse. Many times they are the first to experience the poor environment that substance misuse often causes, and the last to receive help. So we spend this day bringing awareness to this population and continuing advocacy on their behalf. While it's nationally recognized, here in Cheatham, we have taken the theme of let's take it out of their hands. So according to the state of Tennessee, 52,771 children were linked to drug endangered children allegations in 2021. And that is that's what's only was reported. Think about the number that may not have been reported, that may not have been caught. A lot of these come from case management, arrest records, or any other departments or institutions that may have records of this. But without other reports, the number may be way higher than that, or most likely is. So drug endangered youth are more susceptible to abuse, neglect, trafficking, and this is why we're encouraging the community to join the conversation. So what can you do, you might ask? So we have our Drug Endangered Children Awareness Day raffle. So with this, you'll enter by scanning the code right there. Use the link in the caption to read the short article about drug endangered children, and then 3, take the quiz to enter your name and method of contact. So we really want to make it, approachable for the community to take in part of like this conversation. So thinking of, reaching out, putting it on social media, getting them involved that way. Fun fact, y'all are already here. So being here was another additional entry. So if you were to do this now, you'd have 2 entries for a lot of cool prizes. We have prizes donated from Small City Pizza, Street Coffee Bar, and Pleasant View, and then Pleasant View Nutrition, and then some more prizes. So feel free to participate in that. That is on our Facebook, and that's one way we're asking people to join the conversation. We already have the businesses that have joined the conversation and rewarding community members who also choose to. So really just wanting to invite people to be a part, because we want to hear from them. And then also we have our Tennessee Alliance for Drug Endangered Children and Handle with Care statewide conference. We will be having that April 24th through the 26th. It's gonna be at the Tennessee State Library and Archives. There may be some room left, but check it out. Feel free to come if there's some more room, register. We will have breakfast and lunch on Wednesday and Thursday, and then breakfast on Friday. We are looking to have a good time networking, hearing from a lot of the departments and institutions on drug endangered children, and recognizing Drug Endangered Children Day on that first day on the 24th. So please check out for that. And then we have the Reduce the Risk event coming up, which is April 27th. We're partnered with Tennessee Voices, the school system, and we are going to be there doing trainings for parents. We have the Darkness to Light training, and then we have PAX tool training for parents. And we will also have interactive activities for the kids. We'll have community resources, we have vendors, lunch will be provided. So looking just to have a good time, and really making it approachable for people to come out, and learn of information that may help them with parenting, or just help in the community. So look forward to doing that. And that again is April 27th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the National Guard Armory here in Ashland City. And then for Camp Thrive, here's some other opportunities to come be a part, to come volunteer, whatever that may look like. We have a family picnic day we're doing in May. So that will look like some large lawn games, fun day outside with, I'm sure, which would be great weather. We'll be doing some interactive lessons for families just to help with managing emotions in a healthy way and setting goals. So doing that for the families, having the large lawn games, that will be really fun, and doing a bouquet bar. So with Mother's Day being that next weekend, or whoever they want to make the flowers for, having like a little bouquet area for them to make flowers, or a bouquet of flowers, or maybe potted plants for anyone that they love or want to show appreciation to. So looking to be a really good time. You could scan or register there, or take a picture just for future reference. We'll still send out more information on it. And we're asking for exhibitors, and also just spreading the word about an event we're going to be doing for June 22nd, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at River Bluff Park. It's Catch a Cop. So it's the theme of using the trail, and we'll have multiple stations with law enforcement. Just giving them that chance to have a positive interaction with community members, and for families to have that positive interaction with law enforcement. So they'll go to a station, have a challenge or trivia or something to that effect given by the officer. They'll complete it, they'll see whatever resource or vendors there with the officer, and then they'll move on to the next station. And they'll do that all the way until they're done at the finish line. So it's gonna be a fun time. So we're asking for exhibitors. If anyone's interested, feel free to email me. My information will be coming up shortly, but we're just asking for any exhibitors who would be interested to bring resources, bring giveaway items, or if you're a business, vouchers or discounts for services. Let it be like a dentist office or anything to that effect, just to be out in the community. And we will ask for you to bring your own tables, chairs, and tents, and more information is to come, but we are looking very much forward to this event. And then if interested for anything, to register for the camps or to just volunteer register, you can take a picture of this. You can use those QR codes to register, or my information's on here. You can reach out to me, give me a call or an email, whichever's easiest for you. Let me go back. I probably rushed you all a little bit, but you can take a picture of that. All right, and then that concludes our National Alliance for Drug Endangered Children training, and also just Drug Endangered Children awareness presentation. Were there any questions or any inputs, any dialogue?
That was a very good presentation. It was very well, like, it perfectly described the issue, the problem that needs to be addressed. And in a compelling way that like makes me want to get active in it, you know. Is there anything that y'all are doing besides the catch cop thing to get involved in the community that you need community involvement with?
Reduce the risk and still use volunteers.
Reduce the risk?
Yes.
That's April 27th. And so that's what, Kennedy was explaining. We're gonna be at the National Guard Armory. And parents are gonna have their classes, and then we're gonna have lots of different stations for the youth and programs. We're gonna have vendor spaces, have resources, and provide lunch for everybody. That's awesome. So, yeah, just reach out to, if you get Kennedy, she can get you connected with us, so.
Absolutely. And then at that event, we'll also have our second drug take back of the year. So there's multiple locations. For Ashland City location, it will be at the Reduce the Risk event. So coming out for that, we'll have lock boxes, and of course, we'll have law enforcement with them to take any medications expired, or just not needed anymore. So feel free to come out to that and drop off your medication.
Yeah, and just
Okay.
really quick to say, a more volunteer opportunity. Honestly, if you wanna just like reach out to us and to those who are listening, things like that, we always have stuff kind of coming up. Even for those maybe youth who are going into college, we offer Tennessee Promise Hours. Any kind of community service, we're there, like if you guys need that. And then as far as events, like I said, when we have community events like this, we kind of really would like as many people to join the coalition and become a member. That's kind of the list that we pull from. So even like Drug Take Back Day, there's local community agencies that are gonna volunteer to work the table, and you can bring your resources and things like that. So again, but we can reach out to you. So if you're really interested in volunteering, please become a member of the coalition today, and we'll definitely reach out to you. Trust me, we will.
I have a question about your Tennessee Promise House. How does that typically look like if we're directing students and stuff towards you guys for Tennessee Promise potential hours and stuff?
So we have a partnership with, I mean, Alyssa might be able to speak a little bit more to this. We have a partnership with them, so the youth would just let us know like how many hours they need.
Okay.
And then we send the form to Tennessee Promise. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with it.
Okay,
Yeah.
like, the question asks about hours all the time, like,
Yeah.
I can kind of sort of give you some options, but.
Yeah, we're an approved
Yeah.
location, so
Awesome.
honestly, you can just send them our way. You can get our information, they can give us a call, and we'll get a schedule down for them with however many hours they need filled and things like that.
Great job, guys. Thank
That
you
was
so
really
much.
good.
Really, really good. So, we will end with announcements. So does anybody, you have that?
That was,
Any other
yeah,
announcements?
Kennedy, no, that's it.
Anyone else here in the room have announcements of anything that's coming up in the community they want to talk about?
The only thing, I'm sorry, I'm running late. I thought it was 5:30, not 5 today. We are actually about to gear up pretty hard for our Tennessee Youth, I'm with the American Job Center, by the way, Tennessee Youth Employment Program. I have about 20 spots that I can offer youth in the community right now for Cheatham County. I am looking for potential sites who'd be willing to host individuals, and I'm also looking for youth participants who are interested in working this summer. And so through this grant, we would be able to offer 180 hours to ages 16 to 24. At $15 an hour, we would pay the salary and the workers' comp through our program. So just wanted to throw that out there. If y'all.
So how does someone get in touch with you about that?
Depends person or like potential client or business.
But, well, it's a worker, so potentially,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I've got my cards with me today too, so I can get those out as well.
Okay.
But I'm definitely looking for sites to have sites as well lined up for people to start plugging in, so.
Great.
uh,
Mhm. Any other announcements in the room?
Cool. Well, we do have a survey. Everybody has a physical copy that came with your agenda and meeting minutes. If you want a physical one, if you want to fill out online, you can scan this QR code. Also, if you'll make sure to sign in, we send out all these flyers that we've had, the QR codes, any information that people shared, will all be sent in a meeting email. Yeah, an email. So if you didn't get to catch anything, it'll be all there, so.
And then really quick, I just remembered.
Mhm.
So April 24th, as we said many times, Drug and Endangered Children Awareness Day. But the color of that event is red. So we're asking everybody to wear red on that day. And if you do, we'd love to see pictures. So take a picture, tag us on social media, and we'd love to see like the town red. I mean, community, paint it red.
way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Drug boxes, medication lock boxes are here and available always. What I would encourage you to do, so these meetings are always just really great. You guys do a wonderful job. And a lot of people don't see that. So I would encourage you to bring a friend. So anybody, anytime you come to a meeting, myself, I'm gonna try to do that. Try to bring a friend because, there's always great information that's shared here. And so, I want more people to see that. So please, I would encourage you to try to bring a friend. If you can. Any announcements that are on, anybody online? Anybody online? No?
Yeah, we've had a couple people join, but I think they're awareness.
Anything else? Okay, if there's no other announcements, can I get a motion to adjourn? Anyone?
I'm not.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good.
Thank you.